You are listening to Fox Radio 910 and 104.3. I want to welcome you to Let's Talk About, our weekly radio program sponsored by Crowning Touch Senior Moving Services of Roanoke, Virginia. My name is Linda Balentine, the president of Crowning Touch and your host for this series. I interview local characters, service providers, politicians, teachers, entrepreneurs, and business professionals, and each one is dedicated to improving life in our valley. Every person has an interesting perspective to share from all walks of life. So, let's begin today's interview. Reba Spradlin joins me today, and we are sitting together at Reba's Hair and Nail Studio, which is her beauty salon at 12392 Hardy Road out here in Hardy, Virginia, outside of Vinton. Reba, let's talk about the hair salon industry in general today, but first, let's talk about what or who inspired you to become a nail tech and follow this path and become a salon owner.
Well, yes, I was not inspired by just what, it was who inspired me. And it was mentors of mine, Jim and Gig Edwards and Pam Mitchell. There was a lady that her name was Patty that just suggested that I actually just start doing nails. I went to her salon. I was going to sell makeup at her salon with her customers, and she just got me to start doing nails. She just said, I think you would be very good at it, and that's how it started.
So how old were you when that turn event happened?
Well, it was 1989.
Wow. Okay.
So it was a while.
We were all much younger back then.
It was a while back.
So you hadn't picked did you have a career at that point?
I was working at the Vinton Weaving Mill, and and it was okay. It was a good job.
Right.
I made good money. But I just started doing makeup, because I always liked to be flattering and stuff. So, and skincare was a thing of mine. So that's how it all started. I just went and started doing in her salon, doing makeup and skincare and stuff like that for her customers. And then they would buy the product,
Right. Sure.
And so that's how it all started with that. And then I went to work with Jim and Gig. I couldn't stay there very long. She was very dramatic, and I am not drama. So I moved to a more calmer environment.
Right.
And they were very helpful with getting my career started.
So when you first start, is it fair to say that when you start as a nail tech, the average path then is to go work for somebody that already has an established business?
Yes.
Is that it? And
yes.
then when you work, do you get paid hourly? Is it all commission? How does that work?
This one was actually commission at the time, and a very high commission. They wanted to just actually provide a service for their customers, basically. And then they bought the product too. So I was just,
that was a good opportunity.
Very much an opportunity for me. They just opened the door wide open for me. At that particular time, you didn't have to have a license. I could have been grandfathered in for a nail. It wasn't the same as a cosmetology license.
Mm-hmm.
So I did go to school, though. I was like, no, I want to go to school to learn about the nail products and how to do all the different anatomy and things like that.
Yeah.
So I did that and went to state board, passed that, and then stayed with them for like 9 years.
Now, that's still a regulation. In other words, if we were talking to people right now and you were encouraging somebody who was interested in getting into this business, what are some of the prerequisites that they would have to follow?
Yes, you have to have so many hours. And now it's all like based in cosmetology. There are a few nail salon studios, like schools that do just nails, but very few. It's usually cosmetology, and it's all kind of in the cosmetology business.
So explain cosmetology. I mean, is that skincare? It's hair, it's everything, right?
It is everything. It's hair, it's nails, it's skincare, it's waxing. And they hit on all of it, but not in depth. You're going to get more on hands if you are shadowing somebody in a salon or something like that to learn
you can focus on and pick a facet that really appeals to you and then pursue that lane, so to speak, right?
Yes.
If you can go ahead and get into a salon, and then someone will go ahead and what do? You get a chair and you either start doing hair. Is that the deal once you?
Well, you want to try to, come in as an intern almost like, and just kind of follow somebody for a little while. Yes, you can come in right after you get your state board.
Right.
But you are
you're green.
You're very, yes. Yeah. Like I said, they don't hit on very much at all. They will focus more on hair,
right,
I think, than they do the other ones. But that's chemicals. You have to know the anatomy. So it's a lot of things you have to know. And once you get your state board, then you can come into a salon. But while you're getting your school, you can actually come in and just shadow somebody and watch and learn how a stylist, does things, and hopefully learn from that. And so you will be ready when you go into a salon.
Do they have to have liability insurance? What if somebody gets burned with a dye, a chemical, or has a little allergic reaction? Whose responsibility is that?
Oh, yes, you do have to have a liability insurance. And usually if you come in as a subcontractor, which that's what this is, you come in and rent a station from me, that is called kind of like a subcontractor. So you actually will have your own license because it is your business inside of a business.
I gotcha.
So everybody has their own business. You have to take care of all your taxes and that kind of thing, your expenses, keep up with all of your receipts.
I gotcha. Well, you've got a charming place here. This was the result of a lot of hard work and pressing in. Tell us a little bit more about your story. After you were with Gig for 9 years, then you continued to have spaces in rental properties, and that was very disappointing. They collapsed under you, several times, and for one reason or another, you had to leave. You now own this place. It's a fantastic, cozy, comfortable, down-home place. I love it. You come in, there's honey for sale, there's eggs, there's, it's
goat soap.
It's great. It's just a fantastic spot. But tell me a little bit more about that route, because there were some bumps in the road.
Yes, I had gotten out of it for a little bit there after I left Gig and Jim. And there's like my second family. I'm still very close to them. They're very much an influence in my career and my path that I have taken. But I'd gotten out of it for about 7 years. I went to different places. I did different things. Mm-hmm. I went to Brink's Coin Room. I was an assistant manager there. Tallied up $8 million worth of coin for twice a day. But anyway, so I got out of that. And then Pam Mitchell just kept on saying, every time I would come in to get a haircut with Gig, because Gig was working at the best little hair house and day spa in Benton. And when I would come in to get a haircut, because he still cut my hair after all these years and colored my hair. And so she was just like, when are you going to start working for me? When do you want to come in here and do nails? And I just would put her off. But she finally convinced me to come in, and I came in part-time. And then it was just crazy, because the people that I had done 7 years ago found out that I was working again doing nails, and they called. I was just...
So you had a fan base you didn't even realize you had.
What happened? That just doesn't happen. Because all of these little nail salons had popped up everywhere. The competition was fierce.
Do you know how many there are in Roanoke right now? There are 300. There are 300 salons, beauty salons.
Oh yeah.
There are 300, and there are like 800,000 or 900,000 in the United States. It's a $60+ billion a year business.
Yeah, so hairdressers can really make a good living. Absolutely. And some people though overprice themselves a bit wherever they are in their like big cities. This is a smaller town, but even in different areas, Roanoke, Benton, they still sometimes will get a little too pricey. I think we're very reasonable with our prices.
Yeah, you are.
But anyway, so then I just started doing nails down there, and I got my own business license with her, She mentored me, told me what to do, how to do it, because she had been in the business for 45 years. She had built this business from scratch in her house.
Wow.
She started, Pam Mitchell. So when she just convinced me to do that, I did and was with them forever. She had actually sold her business and to a hairdresser there. And she had taken over for a while, but her life was going in different directions. She had children and wanted to homeschool and that kind of thing. So she went in a different direction. So that meant we had to find a place to go in Vinton because our client base was in Vinton and in this area. So that's what we started searching. We only had
30 days, you said.
Yes,
30
we
days.
had 90 days, but it just went down to 30 really quick. We could have stayed there, but it would have been hard.
Yeah.
It would have been very hard. So my husband, he came in. We found a place finally behind the Vinton Weaving Mill at a little strip mall there and had to redo it, had to open. In that time frame, like you were saying, the 30 days, we were down to the wire because we couldn't find any place in Vinton to establish, just a building. A lot of salons wanted us to come work for them, but I didn't have a place to go.
Right.
I didn't have a pedicure chair. I didn't have a station per se in these salons. And I'm like, how am I supposed to do that? My clients want me to take care of them. Their pedicure's essential. It's essential.
Yeah.
It's not just a, flattery type thing, like I have pretty nails. Some of my clients, it's essential for them to take care of their feet. They're diabetic. They're got arthritis.
But you didn't get a waiver during COVID. They never called you an essential operator, did they?
Yes, I know.
Which really hurt people. I mean, that was a disaster.
That you are correct there because we had just moved in January 1 of 2020. And then 3 months in, the next door neighbor of where I was at working said, "Oh, you have to shut down today." I was like, tomorrow, excuse me. He said today at 12 o'clock or something like that. Yeah. The next day, Tuesday. I think this was a Monday and it was a Tuesday. He said by 12 o'clock, you have to be done. And I was like, I sat down and bawled. I mean, I was crying. I was calling my husband. I was calling Pam Mitchell. I was like, what is happening? And sure enough, it did. And we shut down.
I know.
We got as many people in, though.
Wow.
The day of, we were working till 9 and 10 o'clock that afternoon, that night.
And I remember because I was actually one of the clients at that time. All of a sudden, and you had a hairstylist named Kay, who is still a hairstylist for me right here in this shop. And she, she couldn't do it. And the other thing was they wouldn't really let you go to other people's homes. Did you need some sort of special license to do that? I mean, they made that really hard for people. People were afraid to go into a home. And in your situation, like you said, you didn't have an appropriate place to, help work on people, especially doing pedicures and that type of thing.
Right. I mean, because they would take our license. They were very, very adamant about, if we catch you doing hair in your home or anything, I mean, because they had shut down, there was some things that people got caught doing.
Yeah.
Like inside the salon. And I had a very nosy neighbor at that time. I couldn't even do my own sister's.
Oh dear, that's awful.
My own sister's nails and stuff at this particular time.
All right, so you went from that place because then there were, that was a hard place to be at. You had a landlord that didn't cooperate with you. You had leaky faucets. It was a mess. Okay, so
it was horrible.
Then you found this wonderful spot, and this is a special spot because now you bought it, you own it, you won't have to be, run out. You can take care of your own maintenance. I know your husband is a great partner for you. You're blessed that he was a contractor, right? And he helped you set this up, so it's fantastic here.
Yes, I mean, we came in, we designed this place, but before we got to this part of my journey, I had a client that came to me, called me, said, Reba, you need to get this place down here in Hardy. It's perfect for your business. And I was like, Charlie, I said, thank you for, thinking of us,
Right.
because that's wonderful. But I spent $10,000 getting this place ready for us to move in because we had nowhere to go. My girls, needed a spot too,
Right.
For us to go. Because, like I said, they could have went to another salon and just went on, and and he said, you need this place, and I was like, well, I can't afford it. There's no way. Thank you, but I can't afford it. So he said, well, I'm going to give you this man's number. This man is going to call you, and I was like, Charlie, I just told you I can't afford it. He says, oh, just talk to him. He'd probably work with you. And I said, okay. So I just kind of blew it off. But anyway, yes, it was definitely the best thing ever. And they were so diligent. They were like, well, I'm fixing it up. You call me. I'll call you back. They just called me. They was not going to let me not get this place.
Oh, that was a blessing, wasn't it?
It was a God thing.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I had nothing to do with it. It fell into place just like butter, Everything fell into place.
That is so smooth. So you've had lots of experiences with clients. Why don't you mention a memorable client experience that you've had? Because you've had so many. You've got so many faithful clients that love you and have been faithful, coming to you for years.
Yes, they have. At one time, I was trying to get a home put on our property. We lived in a little trailer, and I was trying to get a house put on our property, and I was really struggling with it because I'm self-employed. A lot of my, they think, oh, you don't have money. And my husband was making good money, but still that was when that 2008, not too long before that, that happened.
Right.
People were getting foreclosure. Anyway,
right.
It was very hard. They audited me, everything. So I actually needed like $1,200. I had taken everything out of my savings and all like that to get this house. And I just somehow, it was $1,200 short. And I just was like, I can't get another loan. I don't want another loan.
Right.
I'm not going to do this if I can't, take this out myself. So this client, and I'm just talking to her, because we're just close. I mean, our customers are close with us. So I'm just randomly telling her my difficulties. And she's like, I'll give you the $1,200.
Isn't that a blessing? Yeah.
I was like, what? No, there's no way. She said, Reba, I'm going to get a service every 2 weeks. I'm going to get my manis every 2 weeks. I'm going to get my petties every 4 weeks. I will get that money back. I was like, well, what if something happens? She said, what? You think I'm going to die? I was like, well, it's a possibility. And then what, And she's like, I ain't worried about it. She said, take my credit card, go in here and swipe the card and put it in your account right now.
That is.
I was like, I couldn't believe it. I broke down in tears. It's crazy. And I also had another one, gave me $500 for a sign, our sign out here.
Oh, yeah.
Just gave it to me.
Yeah.
You
must be really out there. I know that, God uses you in this business. You're sitting face to face and across from people. I know that they share their problems with you. I know, the kind of heart you have. The truth is, It's a great opportunity.
Yes, it is.
Because you're sitting there ministering into people's lives every day, multiple times a day.
Yeah.
And then it just comes back to you. Let me ask you another question. What types of, how has the beauty industry changed since you started? I mean, it has a lot, hasn't it? I mean,
yes.
The styles and everything.
Oh, well, the styles, they're still the same.
Yeah, okay.
They really evolve.
Right.
You just evolve, and there's only several haircuts,
right?
But they just call it different,
right?
The shag that we used to get, the Farrah Fawcett thing. Now they call it the wolf cut. Okay. The modified mullet, really? Okay, that's what we're doing. But anyway, it does look good if you do it correctly on places. But yeah,
so you have to keep up with all the trends.
So, and there's another thing though. Like I was telling you before, the cosmetology, the hair extensions.
Yeah, that's
okay. The lash extensions. the skincare, the facials, the massages, all of that. We didn't have all of that at one time.
Right.
When I worked at the hair house, now we did. But that was like 15 years, it has just gotten to everything.
Yeah.
Dermabrasions even are in some of the salons now. All kind of glam.
What do you think has been the most rewarding part of being a salon owner? You've talked about some of your victories, but what is what gives you that satisfaction when you turn off the lights at the end of the day? You know.
So it's funny you should say that, because once I got here and we opened this place, because again, we were on a crunch time of 30 days because I had signed the bank for the mortgage, and I had to come in and actually redo everything, electrical, plumbing, everything. And it was very stressful again to do this in 30 days. But with everybody's help, we got it done. But here's the thing. So I turned the lights off the first day we opened. I looked around and I just felt this wonderful feeling like, Reba, this is such an accomplishment. I cannot believe this is your place.
That's right.
And my my hairdressers, my stylists, they are wonderful. We work as a team here. We help each other. And anybody that comes in here, they are going to be blessed going in, coming out.
Well, they're going to be more beautiful going out than
and they're going to be rock stars.
It's true. How has social media helped your business grow?
Yeah, the social media helps. I mean, because it's just so many people are on social media. So the Facebook pages, the Google, everything like that, computers, the TikTok, Instagram, some of the girls do that, and they share their hairstyles or their products that they're using, and that gets people in.
So it's word of mouth, but it's word of mouth taken to the nth degree now. It's multiplied by 1,000.
It is very much so.
Let's see here. What do you love most about serving the Roanoke community? You say you've been here your whole life.
Yeah, I love my clients. I mean, they are just so wonderful. I really enjoy coming to work. I don't have to, it's never like, oh my gosh, I have to go to work.
Right.
It's just such a joy. Even when I'm slammed, which I usually am, just the talking to people and everything else, just.
Do you treat people of all ages come in here?
Oh,
I've
yes.
seen kids in the chairs. I've seen seniors. I've seen people, in walkers with their children, bringing them in. And so, because you've been in it so long, you've seen a lot of these people sort of age, and then age some more, right?
Funny you should say that too, because I do. I have a couple that I have been doing like 3 or 4 generations of.
Wow.
Yeah, like their children and their children.
Well, there was a grandmother
children
in here the other day who had her grandbaby who she's been bringing in the little chair sitting here while she's getting her nails done.
Yes, I've had that too. I've also had foster parent that was in here. We had playpens set up at sometimes, to wrangle them in when they start walking. So, yes.
What's the best way for new clients to book with you?
With me, they can book just by texting or calling.
What numbers? Let's share some phone numbers for you.
So 540-597-7754. That is my personal cell number. And then the shop is 540-816-6305.
Okay.
And either way, we'll get to you and take care of you.
You're
and
closed
the girls always have their cell phone numbers too. On there.
So there's a whole bunch of people ready to serve in here.
Yes.
You're closed on Sundays all the time, right?
And Mondays.
Closed Sundays and Mondays. Okay. What are some of the most requested? Now I'm going to ask you another question instead. How do you handle difficult or dissatisfied clients? I bet you don't have many of them, but you can't please everybody.
No, I've never really had too many. I have had a couple in the nail business. But for the most part, the hair people, the stylists, they have a little bit more difficulty only because a lot of times people come in thinking that they could get, they have black hair or really dark hair and they want to go platinum.
Right.
They're a little.
Sounds tricky to me.
Yeah, it's just a little bit more to it, but you have to be on the same page. You have to ask a bunch of questions, and you have to be realistic. And they're going to tell you this is going to take a few times to get this if this is what you truly want.
Right.
So you're going to have to go through a transition. But that's just mostly it. Just they don't know what they want, or they. The color, you have to show swatches. You have to show them swatches sometimes because a red could be a red for you, like a blue red, but it could be they want an orangey red.
Right.
So you have to just ask a lot of questions when you're doing things so that you don't have that person that says, oh, I don't like this color. Well, this is what you picked. And this is what we gave you.
So now, other than the cost of is it, there are no guarantees when you come on in, because you're experimenting with them, correct? Isn't it one of those things where, you take your risks, you put your money down, you take your risk and everybody has to absorb responsibility for the fact that, they ask for it and everybody's hair is different.
So much texture, everything is different textures. It's all different.
Well, I know that you
have to get used to the client's hair and make the best of the situation.
Well, something tells me that if they walk in here, you're going to make sure that they're happy when they walk out.
Yes, that is my main goal. Yeah. Take care of our customers in every aspect.
I got you.
If they need something even outside of here, I want to be able to do that with them too.
All righty. Well, God bless you. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. The life of a nail tech. Fascinating. Thank you, Reba. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Let's Talk About, courtesy of Crowning Touch Senior Moving Services of Roanoke, Virginia, the only moving company with a consignment shop, auction house, and real estate division. We are a one-stop shop for any senior making a move. Check out our website at crowningtouchusa.com. Or if you are planning a move, call Anna at 540-982-5800 to arrange a free estimate. And don't forget to check out our monthly browse and bid auctions at 6712 Williamson Road in Roanoke, where you can bid online on over 1,800 items each month. Meanwhile, let's get back together next Friday at noon for more of Let's Talk About on Fox 910 and 104.3.